my dear learner, I am much hopeful that this lesson has been of help to you. Today, on the number basis, we are going to consider equations involving number bases, and at this time, part 1b, because the part 1a has been treated already. But I am begging of you to watch the video on converting numerals in other bases to base 10 so that it would enhance your understanding of this very lesson. But before we continue, I am begging you to subscribe, comment, share, and like my videos on YouTube. Like the part 1a of this same subtopic, I talked of procedures to follow in solving equations involving number bases. I want to reiterate these same procedures to you this day to help you in the part 1b. So the first procedure is that whenever you get questions on equations involving number bases, the first thing to do is to look at the numerals involved. Then the numerals or the numeral with unknown base or bases should be converted to base 10. And then the numerals that are also not in base 10 should be converted to base 10 before you can solve such equation. The second procedure is that you substitute the answer you have gotten into the given equation. The third point is you solve for the value of the unknown variable in the equation. And then the fourth thing, which most people wouldn't do, is to check if your answer is correct or wrong. Under this subtopic, which is the equations involving number bases, we would consider two aspects. The first is to find an unknown base of a numeral, and the second is to find an unknown digit in a numeral. But we are still on A, which is finding an unknown base of a numeral, and today we are on part 1b. Stay put and watch this video. Take your jotter or whatever may help you, exercise book, notebook, pens, calculator as well, and involve yourself in this lesson. Let's see our first question. Find the value of n in 1, 2, 2 base n equals 1, 2, 1, 2 base 3. You are going to solve this question whilst I guide you. the first thing is go through the numerals, find out which of them is to be converted into base 10. I hope you are done. Because 122 is in unknown base, and we don't know the base, what n is. Therefore, we have to convert this 122 base n to base 10. Again, 1212 base 3 is not in base 10, so convert it to base 10, which means that all the numerals in this equation are going to be converted into base 10. So we are going to do that. Let's first of all convert 122 base n to base 10, and you know how to do this. So the numeral 122 has been written with each digit having its place value written directly under it. So as you already know, just multiply each digit by its place value. Then we add all of them together. So 1 would multiply n index 2 plus, then the second digit is 2. It would multiply its place value, which is 2 times n index 1, plus the last digit, which is 2, would multiply its place value, which is 2 times n index 0. Now 1 times n index 2 would be n index 2 plus 2 times n index 1 would be 2n plus 2 times n index 0 would be 2 times 1, and that would be 2. When we get to this, we cannot add these three terms together and get one answer or one figure. Therefore, we end here and write that as our answer. So 122 base n would give us n squared plus 2n plus 2 in base 10. Then the next thing to do is to convert 1212 base 3 to base 10. And with that too, you can see each of the digits with its place value written directly under that digit. So we may multiply 1 by its place value, which is 1 times 3 index 3, plus 2 would multiply its place value, which is 2 times 3 index 2, plus 1 would multiply its place value, which is 1 times 3 index 1, plus the last digit, 2 times 3 index 0. We are going to simplify. 3 index 3 would give us 27, so we may have 1 times 27, plus 2 times 3 index 2. The 3 index 2 would give us 9, so we may have 2 times 9, plus 3 index 1 would give us 3, so we may have 1 times 3, plus 3 index 0 would give us 1, so we may have 2 times 1, as you see on your screen. 1 times 27 would give us 27, plus 2 times 9 would give us 18, plus 1 times 3 would give us 3, plus 2 times 1 would give us 2. Then when we add everything, we may get 50 as the answer to 1212 base 3. Therefore, 1212 base 3 in base 10 is 50 or 50. Now, look at these answers very well. In our next step, we are going to substitute these answers into the original question. So, wherever we find 1, 2, 2 base n, we are going to put in n squared plus 2n plus 2, and that is what you see on your screen. Then our next thing is to bring our equal to in the original question. And the next numeral is 1, 2, 1, 2 base 3. And in place of that, we put 50 there. Now, looking at this, the n squared tells you that this is quadratic. And for quadratic, we must make sure that all the terms would be at one side of the equation. So I prefer taking this 50 to the left hand side because we have most of the terms over there. And this is not done by magic. To do that, we find the additive inverse of 50, and that is negative 50. So we subtract 50 from both sides of the equation. That is what you see on the screen. So you may get n squared plus 2n minus 48 equals 0. Now, what you see is perfectly a quadratic equation. Therefore, we must solve for the values of n in the equation. We therefore open a first bracket. In the first bracket, because the quadratic is made up of the variable n, we write n and leave enough space. Then we open a second bracket, we write n again in that and leave enough space before we close the bracket, and we equate it to 0. Now, the next thing to do is to multiply the coefficient of n squared. In this case, it's 1. By the constant in the equation, which is negative 48. So 1 times negative 48 would give us negative 48. So we find the factors of negative 48 that satisfy the quadratic equation. So we find factors of negative 48 that would satisfy the quadratic equation. And with that, we need only 2 numbers, which when multiplied would give us negative 48, and which when added would give us the coefficient of n in the quadratic equation, which is positive 2. And we can see that it is only 8 and negative 6 that when multiplied would give us negative 48, and when added would give us positive 2. So in the first bracket, you put in 8, and because 8 is positive, we write plus 8 in the first bracket. And in the second bracket, we put in negative 6. So we write minus 6. Now, the other thing to do is to pick the factor in the first bracket, equate it to 0, and solve for the value of n. When you are done, you pick the factor in the second bracket, you equate it to 0, and you solve for the value of n. So you may get two values of n. N plus 8 equals 0. Then we want to make n the subject, which means we don't need this number 8 here. But to take this 8 to the other side of the equation is not done by magic. We add the additive inverse of 8 to both sides of the equation. So the additive inverse of 8 here is negative 8. So in simple terms, just subtract 8 from left hand side and we subtract 8 from the other side, as you see on your screen. And that would give us n equals negative 8, because the positive 8 minus 8 would be 0. And 0 minus 8 would be negative 8. So we get n equals negative 8. Then we are going to pick the second factor, which is n minus 6. Equate that 1, 2 to 0, and then we solve for n. And with this, we want to make n the subject, and the number here is negative 6. Its additive inverse is positive 6. So it means we must add 6 to both sides of the equation. And that is what you see on your screen. And that would also give us n equals 6, because negative 6 plus 6 would be 0, and 0 plus 6 would be 6. Now we have two answers. Which of them is the correct answer, my dear learner? Guess it yourself. From the beginning of this lesson, I'm talking of number bases, we've never seen any numeral in base of a negative number. So the answer is the positive value of n, which is 6. The negative 8 would be ignored. Therefore, the answer is n equals 6, which means that 122 is in base 6. And when it is converted to base 3, you get 1212. Let's see our exercise or assignment. I hope you are seriously working with us, but let me tell you again, please subscribe, like, share, and comment on my videos. I would be very grateful to you. Our first question is, find the value of x in 1, 3, 2 base s equals 4, 2 base 10. Number 2, find the value of base x that satisfies the equation 3, 7 base x plus 5, 6 base s equals 1, 1, 5 base x. Pause the video, calculate for the answers, and compare yours with mine. Number 1, the answer would be s equals 5. It would be quadratic, and hence two answers would be gotten. But because we have no negative base, we reject s equals negative 8, and therefore the answer is s equals 5. In example 2, the answer is s equals 8. We would reject s equals negative 1. Please like, comment, share, and subscribe to my video. I would be very grateful to you. May God be with you all till we meet in our next lesson. Bye bye.